and welcome to another edition of Marquette in Motion. We're your hosts, Morgan Minster
and Amber Krieg. On today's show, we'll be sharing some interesting facts about the characters in our fall play, reporting on tech retreats, learning some mnemonics, interviewing our new drama director, answering your questions in You Ask, We Answer,
and as always, updating you on Marquette sports and events. But first, this year, Marquette is putting on the play The Diary of Anne Frank as its fall production. The play is set in World War II-era Holland during the Holocaust. Marquette's actors actually performed the matinee for the student body on Tuesday.
And this is an aside, but if you come to the play, you'll see our very own Morgan Minster portraying Anne Frank.
Actually, many of the Marquette in Motion reporters make up the cast, but back to the show.
Since many of our listeners perhaps know the story of the Franks and the Secret Annex,
we thought we'd focus on some facts about the Franks that maybe you, our listeners, did not know.
Did you know, and this one does seem kind of hard to believe, that Anne Frank, Martin Luther King Jr., and Barbara Walters were all born in the same year?
That does seem hard to believe. Also interesting is that Anne Frank's diary wasn't actually a diary. It was an autograph book, and it was a gift given to her by her parents on her 13th birthday. Anne also had a pet name for her diary. She referred to it as Kitty.
Quite literally a pet name.
And when Anne went into hiding and ran out of paper, she resorted to using notebooks and even putting the last 350 pages of her diary on sheets of loose-leaf paper.
That's a lot of pages.
Well, the world almost missed out on Anne's writings. One of the people who was hiding the Frank family, Miep Gies, said she would have destroyed the diary if she had known what it was about. It contained incriminating evidence that she had been helping to hide the Franks and 4 other Jews.
Anne's sister Margot is also believed to have kept a diary. However, that diary has not been found.
Of the many things mentioned in her diary, Anne talks about a chestnut tree that she can see from the window of her hiding place. That chestnut tree has now become famous, with saplings taken from it planted all over the world, including in front of the U.S. Capitol.
Anne was born in 1929. In 1942, Anne and her family went into hiding. Anne lived with her family, the Van Pels family, and a dentist named Fritz Pfeffer in a secret annex off of her father's office building. These quarters were not the most comfortable living conditions. Anne and her family spent 2 full years in hiding, and then in August of 1944...
Amber, I'm not sure we want to share the ending here.
You're right. I guess you'll just have to check out Marquette's play, The Diary of Anne Frank. The show will run from November 12th through the 14th, and will be held in the MEC beginning at 7 p.m.
Well, I think it's time for us to check out and turn the stage over to jam time.
Thanks for giving us the spotlight. Today we're going to share some mnemonic devices that we like to use. Mnemonic devices are like tricks, ways to help the brain remember something.
Hey, does that bulb in our spotlight need changing?
Well, there's not really a spotlight on us, but if the bulb in a spotlight did need changing, you would just remember this mnemonic: lefty-loosey, righty-tighty.
Ah, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. A little rhyme to remember.
The brain does love rhymes.
Which is why I must tell you about Emma, my dilemma.
Allison, as much as I want to hear about Emma, your dilemma, is Marquette in Motion really the place to share this?
I'm just trying to use a rhyme as a mnemonic to help you spell dilemma. If you ever need to spell dilemma, remember Emma. It's hiding in dilemma. D-I-L-E-M-M-A.
Got it. Do you know how you can remember how to spell cemetery?
No, how can I remember how to spell cemetery?
Just remember that all the E's are buried in the word cemetery. C-E-M-E-T-E-R-Y.
Ah, clever. Well, here's one that might keep someone out of the cemetery. It helps remember what to do if someone goes into shock.
Okay, this sounds important. Pay attention, girls. Allison, what do you do if someone goes into shock?
Just think, if the face is red, raise the head. If the face is pale, raise the tail.
Ah, love those rhymes.
How do I remember something really similar, like the difference between stalactites and stalagmites? I can never remember those two.
Easy. Stalactites has a C in it for ceiling, since they grow from the ceiling, and stalagmites has a G in it for ground, as they grow from the ground.
Speaking of science terms, have you heard how Mrs. Turman teaches her class how to remember the prefixes in the metric system?
How?
Just remember, King Henry died drinking chocolate milk.
Oh, I get it. King is for kilo, Henry is for hecta, died is for deca.
Drinking is for dessa, chocolate is for centa, and milk is for milla. That's really useful.
Well, now that we mentioned chocolate milk, everyone's thinking about lunch, which means we better keep this show moving. For Marquette in Motion, this has been
Jam Time!
With Justina Denlinger,
Allison Heger,
Megan Litter,
And Mackenzie Kilberg.
Don't set the table yet. Marquette in Motion will be back after these messages.
Welcome back to Marquette in Motion. Christina Coos is here with her report on tech retreats.
Today, tomorrow, and Monday, 6 Marquette and Bellevue seniors will be joining many other Catholic seniors from around the area. Lauren Kilberg, Christina Coos, Daniel Mickle, Erica Timmerman, Katie Bockenstead, and Connor Mickles traveled to Xavier High School this morning to participate in Tech number 560. Tech stands for Teens Encounter Christ. Tech participants remain at the high school for 3 days and 2 nights in order to strengthen their relationship with God. I don't have much to tell you because the events that go on at Tech are top secret in order to preserve the experience for others. However, I have heard that Tech is an amazing experience, and many people thoroughly enjoy it. I am personally really looking forward to growing closer to God, strengthening my faith, and meeting new people who share the same beliefs as I do. In addition to Xavier, Beckman, Kalmar, Waller, and Marquette also host a Tech on various weekends. Marquette will be hosting their Tech on January 30th through February 1st. If you know a senior who would like to participate in Marquette's Tech Weekend to deepen their relationship with Christ, please contact the Marquette office at 872-3356. For Marquette in Motion, this has been Christina Coos. Thanks for that report, Christina. It's time now, though, to hear from our community and You Ask, We Answer. Today's first question asks about our fall play, The Diary of Anne Frank, and asks about reserved seating. What exactly is reserved seating?
For an extra $1, audience members are given preferential seats in the first several rows. Tickets can be purchased at the door or in advance. We hope we can see you all on November 12th, 13th, and 14th.
The next question reads, I know the Marquette Classic basketball tournament is coming up soon. Is it too late for teams to enter?
It's not. The Marquette Catholic Classic Basketball Tournament will be held in the MEC on November 20th and 21st. Teams can enter by calling the Marquette office at 872-3356. Boys and girls basketball teams with students from grades 5 through 8 are eligible to enter.
Our final question today inquires about the senior job shadows that were held this past Thursday.
Our senior class's job shadows lasted from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. this past Thursday. Marquette's senior class was kept busy all day by the various professionals they worked with. Some interesting occupations were shadowed that day. Anna Ambrosi worked with an occupational therapist at Unified Health Services in Dubuque. Alex Conradi was able to shadow Laura Sieverding, helping with the construction of Finley Hospital. Hunter Zymet also spent the day with the Dubuque County Sheriff's Department. John Stroyan went to the Jackson County Regional Health Center, while Amber and I spent part of the day at the TH office in downtown Dubuque. In the end, everyone had a great day that provided some valuable insight on their future. In the future, we hope to be hearing from all of you. Send us all your questions at marquetteinmotion@marquettecatholic.com. Until then, this has been Lauren Kilberg. We'll be right back after this break.
We're back with Marquette in Motion. Sam Peters and Jonathan Herrig are here with your Marquette Sports and Updates report.
Thanks, Morgan. The Marquette volleyball team played against Cal Wheat in a district game on Thursday, October 29th. The game ended up going into 5 sets last Thursday, and everybody in the gym was on the edge of their seat for both teams. Marquette got some momentum and pulled ahead for a victory. Marquette's team moved on to play this past Wednesday in Maquoketa against Springville. Once again, the game went into 5 sets after each team winning 2. Unfortunately, Springville was able to pull ahead in the end by a matter of only a few points. Springville will move on to Class 1A state volleyball on Thursday, November 11th. Thank you, girls, for an incredible season.
Thanks, Jonathan. Marquette's fall play, The Diary of Anne Frank, will be held November 12th, 13th, and 14th, each night starting at 7 p.m. Also, Marquette's annual chicken dinner will be held November 15th at Horizon Hall from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. They will be serving Combs' famous roasted chicken, mashed potatoes and gravy, applesauce, corn, green beans, rolls, desserts, and beverages. Tickets for a half chicken are $10, a fourth chicken $8, and a children's meal for children 10 and under $4. Tickets are available at the Marquette Catholic High School office and at the Marquette Fall Play. Delivery is available by calling the school office at 563-872-3356. For Marquette in Motion, this has been Sam Peters
And Jonathan Herrig
with your Marquette Sports and Updates report.
Thanks, boys. And now we'll turn it over to Brooklyn Moore with No More.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brooklyn Moore, and today I'm interviewing Chris Doss, Marquette's new drama director. Hi, Mr. Doss. How are you today?
I am doing very well today. Thank you so much for asking.
On Tuesday, the student body attended the matinee performance of The Diary of Anne Frank. In your estimation, how did the show go?
I think it went as well as it possibly could. I feel like it flowed really well, and I think the students really did a really great job performing in front of their student body, really.
Sounds good. Could you give us a short summary of the Diary of Anne Frank without revealing too much?
Sure. This just follows the story of Anne Frank, a 13-year-old Jewish girl who goes into hiding with her family, with another family, the Von Dons, in the annex, which is a very small space. So it kind of shows their trials and tribulations up there, being cramped together, and it's a coming-of-age tale for Anne as well, for sure. Yeah, that's just about all I can give without revealing too much.
Okay. Who are some of the cast members?
Sure. Some of the cast members, the Frank family being played by Morgan Menster as Anne Frank. We have Jonathan Stroyan as Mr. Otto Frank. We have Lauren Kilberg as Mrs. Edith Frank. We also have Erica Timmerman as Anne's sister Margot. The Von Don family, we have Jonathan Herrig as Mr. Von Don, Amber Krieg as Mrs. Von Don, and then their son Peter being played by Burke O'Brien. And we've also got Sam Peters, who comes into the show later as Mr. Dussel, the dentist. And we have Danny Coos, who plays Mr. Crawler, who kind of helps them out as they go along the way. And then we have Christina Coos, who plays Meep, who also helps them. And Meep actually was the last living member of this whole story, who just passed away a couple years ago. So, yeah.
Okay. So, what do you hope the members of the audience are going to take away from this whole show?
I hope the audience members are not only educated by what a lot of these people had to go through during World War II. There are a lot of Jews who had to go into hiding and had to suffer through, these kind of really cramped locations. And I really hope that they kind of go away feeling, how they felt. And I hope they go through the emotional journey with them as well, because I want them to feel kind of what everybody felt as they went through this horrible circumstance.
In order to put on such a fine production as The Diary of Anne Frank, you probably had to have some background education in theater. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Sure. I graduated back in 2013 from the University of Dubuque, and I graduated with a bachelor's degree in performing arts with an emphasis in theater. I've been working at the Clinton Area Showboat since 2006. I've been directing a couple Christmas shows with them, and I am doing one this December. And I just finished as the education director this past summer, so I have a lot of experience with the high school students, for sure.
Here's a question, just for fun. What's your favorite play or musical that you've ever seen or been in?
Oh boy. So favorite that I've ever seen is I saw a production of Once, the musical, that was just on Broadway a couple of years ago and was just touring in Des Moines, and that show was just fantastic. They play the instruments, all of the actors play the instruments and do the choreography, which is something I could never do. And my favorite show I've ever been in was actually Next to Normal, which is something that I just finished up doing at the Clinton Showboat in August.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Last question before we go. When will Marquette's production of The Diary of Anne Frank be held again?
The Diary of Anne Frank will be held on November 12th, 13th, and 14th at 7 p.m. Be sure and get your tickets. They are $5 a piece.
Okay. Well, thanks for letting me interview you, Mr. Doss, and a special thanks to all the listeners. Make sure to keep tuning in. For Marquette in Motion, this has been Brooklyn Moore.
Thanks for reporting, everyone.
And thanks for tuning in. For Marquette in Motion, this has been Morgan Minster.
And Amber Krieg.
And remember, stay informed, stay involved, stay in motion.